Syrian chemical weapons attack a war crime and strong response is essential, says The Raw Story. Featured video politics satire, parody activism low. Stevie Wonder takes on Texas, changing education on slavery is unacceptable. College leaders disciplined after awful no consent chant goes online. This comedian can out Tracy Morgan. Chicago woman charged with raping a man at gunpoint, stealing his iPhone. Front page. U.S. News. World. Science. Tech. Media. 420. All video. Pentagon. Raw meat. Culture clutch. Syrian chemical weapons attack a war crime and strong response is essential, says U. By The Guardian Saturday, September 7, 2013 10:19 Eastern Daylight Time. Topics: Catherine Ashton, Syria. Tweet. European Union Foreign Chief Catherine Ashton says strong response is essential to make clear there is no impunity. The European Union has called a chemical weapons attack in Damascus a crime against humanity and says it was probably carried out by the Syrian government. Following a meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State, John Kerry, EU foreign ministers said that any punitive military attack should not be carried out until the delivery of a report by United Nations inspectors. Catherine Ashton, the EU's representative for foreign affairs, issued a statement on Saturday calling the chemical attack a blatant violation of international law, a war crime and a crime against humanity. She said information from a wide variety of sources had confirmed the chemical attack and seems to indicate strong evidence that the Syrian regime is responsible, as it is the only party that possesses chemical weapons agents and the means of their delivery in a sufficient quantity. The statement said a clear and strong response is crucial to make clear that such crimes are unacceptable and that there can be no impunity. Ashton's comments came after President Barack Obama returned to the U.S. from the G20 summit in Russia and said that an attack in Syria would not become another Iraq or Afghanistan. We are the United States of America. We cannot turn a blind eye to images like the ones we've seen out of Syria, he said. The president will try to persuade Congress to support him in punishing Syria for using chemical weapons. Any action we take would be limited, both in time and scope, and designed to deter the Syrian government from gassing its own people again and degrade its ability to do so, he said in his weekly broadcast on Saturday. Obama failed to get international agreement for an attack in Syria at the summit in St. Petersburg. The Russian President, Vladimir Putin, claimed that a majority of the G20 opposed any U.S.-led intervention, and gave no ground by continuing to insist that the chemical weapons attacks were a provocation by Syrian rebels designed to win international backing for an attack in the Assad regime. David Cameron warned that the world could not contract out its morality to a Russian veto at the UN Security Council over its response to the poison gas attack which killed hundreds in a Damascus suburb. He claimed that those who blamed Bashar al-Assad's government and backed a strike against the regime had far the better of the argument. Putin declared that any attack without a UN resolution would violate the law, indicating that he was ready to give further military assistance to the Assad regime if it were attacked. Will we help Syria? We will. And we are already helping, and we send arms, we cooperate in the economic sphere, he said. The Russian president blames the chemical attack on anti-regime militants hoping for support from the outside world, which Cameron said was impossible to believe. Putin listed those backing military action and added, Mr. Cameron is also in favor, but in Britain Parliament was against that. Obama was left relatively isolated at the G20, as only France indicated it was ready to join the US in an armed response, while Britain, Turkey, Canada and Saudi Arabia voiced support for robust action. The U.S. president insisted there was a growing recognition that we cannot sit idly by and announced plans to make an address in Syria from the White House on Tuesday. Cameron voiced frustration at